Blue Beetle is a DC movie about a character who becomes the superhero Blue Beetle after discovering an alien artifact known as the Scarab. But the movie is more about his Mexican family and a character played by Bruna Marquezine. So, I should talk more about them than about Blue Beetle.
This Blue Beetle is basically a superhero who wears some type of symbiotic armor generated by the Scarab, which also gives him other powers and guns. The Blue Beetle from the movie is not the one I knew when I wrote comics. The action scenes are good, but not something that makes the movie stand out.
The part about the family is much more interesting. Most people are okay with me, but some say I'm not Latino enough even though I was born in Brazil because of my Japanese ancestry. But being Latino will certainly help you to identify with the movie. For example, discussing Maria la del Barrio is more important than the cosmic threat, of course. And I think some special guests will be more appreciated by the Latino audience.
However, I was often annoyed by the Latinos in the movie. I had to remind myself that this movie is also for other audiences. I think many ideas are natural to the Latino culture, without the need for a speech, a plot twist, or a major threat in the movie. So, the characters seem to know the Latino culture, but only when the movie requires that.
The father always believes they will find a solution. Uncle Rudy is one of the best characters. When something bad happens, Rudy shrugs and says he has seen worse. And then Rudy fixes the problems, even when nobody believes in him. However, I think those things should often be as natural as seeing the importance of family. Latinos often face a very hard life. One character says that progress is not for Mexicans, but for rich people. So, even though Latinos are often happy, smiling, friendly, and positive, they are also used to overcoming challenges and knowing the world can be bad for them.
I may not know much about Latinos in general, but I know a lot about Brazilians. And that brings me to Bruna Marquezine, a Brazilian girl playing a Brazilian character named Jenny. Jenny has good intentions despite being from the same family as the villain, played by Susan Sarandon. Jenny is also the daughter of Ted Kord, the old Blue Beetle I knew from the comics. Although Bruna Marquezine's character is not as important as the Blue Beetle, she is one of the movie stars. Marquezine does a great job. However, I wondered why she didn't do what I expected. I think it was because of the scripts and the stereotypes.
Bruna Marquezine is a young, beautiful, sexy, and popular girl. So, she fits well with the stereotype people have about Brazilian girls. However, Brazilian girls in power are not damsels in distress. Like other Latinos, they probably had to overcome a lot to be where they are, or just to survive. Even with the family helping, and probably even more in that case. I understand if people are surprised by what happened. However, Marquezine's character remains surprised, baffled, and perplexed by everything in almost the whole movie. That doesn't make sense to me. I don't know Bruna Marquezine, but I doubt she is passive like that. I expect a Brazilian girl like her to take action, to deal with the situation that is happening, to be a strong ally. She is not supposed to be, as we say in Brazil, someone beautiful and ordinary. Bruna Marquezine's character should be beautiful and extraordinary.
What I saw in the movie was not enough. I hope we see more of Bruna Marquezine. I was never a fan of Marquezine in Brazil, when she often seemed to be under the shadow of his ex-boyfriend Neymar. But in Blue Beetle, it's not about Neymar anymore. Bruna Marquezine's performance was great in a movie that didn't give her much opportunity for that. We often watch the dubbed version of the movies in Brazil, but Bruna Marquezine has one line in Portuguese instead of English, and her English is great.
Hi guys, this is Bruna. It's really weird to say my name with an American accent. This is Bruna, and I'm gonna do my everyday makeup.
It was strange to be a Brazilian watching a DC movie in New York with Bruna Marquezine, also a Brazilian, as a star.
Blue Beetle is much better than I expected. Even if I'm a little tired of movies based on comics and I wasn't a fan of Bruna Marquezine, I left the movie wanting to see more. Blue Beetle used to be just a joke in comics. In the movie, he is still a joke, but with the potential to be much more.